Good morning, everybody. It's May the 3rd, 2021 already. Almost halfway done with this year. I mean, that person that keeps sending me the this many days till Christmas, you know who you are.
I know who that is.
I know who that is. And she just better beware. She's getting coal in her stockings this year. So anyway, it's exciting though because I'm getting ready to go to Texas. I told you that last week. And so look forward to some posts on our Facebook page, alwaysinstitches1.com. And today we're going to do block 18 and 19 of My Favorite Color is Moda. And there's only 20 blocks, so you know what that tells you? Next time you see me, it'll be the last block. But then we've got to put the quilt together. And boy, do I have a gigantic surprise for you when we put them together.
Wait, tiny surprise?
A tiny surprise. Yeah, it's going to be a great big tiny surprise, okay? But for today, 18 and 19, if you'll show them the blocks over here on the board, Peter. 18 is bigger than 19. We're going to make one of number 18 and 3 of number 19, but they're super duper, 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 duper easy.
Oh, I didn't see that there were 3. Of course, they all look the same.
There's 3 of them
now I get
on
it.
number 19. And we're going to do a technique we've not done before. I call this technique connected corners. Connected corners. And your book, your instruction book, shows you exactly how to do it. Okay? It's not hard. Super easy. Connected corners.
I've never heard of it.
Well, I made that up.
Oh.
Connected corners. But that's just what I've always called it. So that's what we're going with, okay?
Okay.
So today, you start out with the biggest block. And this is where my tape's going to come in real handy. If I don't want to go ahead and draw the line. Now, if I wanted to draw a line, I could, but now this is dark fabric, you know. So what would I do? I'd get out my good old chalk pencil, and I get my ruler out. And if I wanted to draw the line, I could. This is not a very good surface. Here, let's move this over. There we go. Okay, you know, I go from corner to corner. Draw me a nice line. Now see how good my white chalk.
I was just about to ask you what that is.
We have these here in stock. Excuse me. We have these here in stock. I like them. We have a lot of different chalk pencils out there. But just any chalk pencil will do. For your dark fabrics, I really like that. Now for a light colored fabric, you can just use one of these regular old mechanical pencils. You know. That you get just about anywhere that sells pencils. So I put my ruler from diagonal to diagonal and draw the line, and there's the line on the light ones. But if I don't want to go through all that, that's why I have this tape on my table here. But instead of being a quarter of an inch away, I want to be right on the line of my needle. What did I do with my ruler? Oh, here it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my needle down, raise my presser foot. I'm going to kind of try and make sure my ruler is straight by looking at all the lines on my faceplate, all the lines on my ruler. I've got a tickle in my throat today. I must have told a funny joke before I got here. Making sure all that is really lined up well. Then I'm going to take my marker. I'm not ambidextrous, but I'm doing a pretty darn good job here. I'm going to draw a line. Now, for some reason, that went way off down here. Alrighty. Now, I don't think I've got any packing tape. So instead, I'm going to just use this see-through tape right here. Because, you know what? I do not want that marker line coming off on my fabric. I'm just going to tape that down real good. Cut that off. There we go. Now, it would be better with clear tape, of course. But you can see that line, right? It's not sticking very good, Peter.
You can see it.
You can see it.
Sticking.
Okay, it's just not sticking. Okay, I'm going to take my big square here. And the right side of the fabric is up. Now, when we're using solids, it doesn't really matter. But if you were using prints, it would matter. So right sides would be together. Now, am I going to sew it that way? No, because if I did, there's nowhere to stop. Plus, when I turn it this way, it makes that. Well, that's not what I'm trying to make. I'm trying to make this, where I just want the corner to be a half square triangle. Now, I could make 4 half square triangles, or 2 half square triangles and 2 solid pieces and get the same effect, but that's a lot more sewing, where we can just have one big piece and just cut off the corners and add a connecting corner. That is just not working. Okay, pause me a minute, Peter. Okay, I'm back. I found some tape, a little bit of tape. Just needed a little bit. So I'm going to tear off a piece of tape, and I'm going to cover that line because I do not want that marker rubbing off on my fabric. Okay, I still want to see the line, but I do not want that marker. So now, I'm going to lay that so that the line is on the diagonal. And I'm not oversizing this like we do with our half square triangles. This has got to be the exact size. My machine came on.
I thought it sounded awfully smooth.
Yeah. Where'd it go? Where'd the thread go? Okay, that happens. You know, no big deal. You know how to... This is just practice. Did I ever tell you the time I thought I could thread my machine blindfolded because I'd done it so many times? Well, I couldn't.
Oh, that's a good thing to try.
Yeah, but you can't see all the little nitty gritties. Okay, here we go. I love those needle threaders. You know, the older I get, the more I appreciate them. You know what I'm saying? Got a little cutter back there. I really like that. Okay, let's try this again. This time I'm going to hang on to it, okay? Shouldn't have to, but... Oh, there's my needle lift. That works really good. Okay, now see how that just... Right there. I can line that corner up with this line right here. And look, it's so straight. Look at that. Wowza, I love that. Okay. So now, when I fold this back, look at that. Perfect.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful? Now I'm going to do it to the other side. This time I'm not going to mark the line. Just going to use my tape as a guide. Okay? So I'm going to put that point right at my needle. I'm going to move this point right to my line. I don't know, can they see that really good, Peter? Get right in there. Okay. See how that point is right on that line? And I'm just going to follow that line all the way up till it gets to my needle. So I'm not looking up here. I'm not looking up here. I'm looking right here. Making sure that that point just stays right on that line. And voila, it comes out perfect. I love that. Oh, shoot. Okay. There we go. All right, now, I could come over here and just cut 1/4 of an inch off. I could do that. Okay? Because all I really want is this. I don't want all this. All right? But what if I moved this over 1/2 inch or so? And sewed again. Look at that. Now when I come to my cutting surface, let's go over here to the cutting surface. And I cut 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Look what I have. I have a 1/2 square triangle that I can square up. Well, what size should I square it up to? Well, I should square it up to the biggest size I can get out of it. So if I can get a 2 1/2, that's a very common size 1/2 square triangle that I like to use. And look, I can get a 2 1/2. Now, since I'm only making 1 block, I'm only going to get 4 of these.
Yeah, but you save them.
But you save them until you get 4 more, and then 4 more, and then 4 more. And look, that's a perfect 2 1/2 inch, 2 inch finished 1/2 square triangle. I'm going to cut 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And that's what it's going to look like. Now that's pretty scary because you've cut away, you know, your corners of your block. It looks pretty scary right now. But I'm going to come over to my iron. Can you just, let me put this over here. And come over to my iron, and of course you know what I'm going to do. What do you think I'm going to do, Peter? Press open. I'm going to press this open. Now, this does not change the size of your block. Even though we've added fabric, this should be the same size as what you cut your first piece. So we go over to the cutting mat. We get us a nice square up ruler. Supposed to square, and it does. It squares up exactly what it's supposed to square up to. Nothing to trim. Oh, maybe a thread. Okay, not that big of a deal. So anyway, look, this one I didn't sew. So now I have this. And I could save this and come back and sew it later, but what I'm doing is I'm sewing on the bias. Where here, I sewed before I cut it, so I've already cut it, and I wasn't sewing on the bias. I just simply was sewing before I cut the bias, and that way that gave me more stability. I'm going to cut that seam allowance a little bit better. So I could go ahead and take this over to my machine and do 1/4 of an inch, and then I would have 2 1/2 square triangles. Okay, look, now that is 1/4 of the block. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start chain piecing. You know, we're on block 18, remember. Point to point. Okay, now remember, this over here is 1/4 of an inch away from my needle. The edge of the tape is 1/4 of an inch. It's the same as the edge of my foot. But I want to be where the needle is because I'm going to sew from corner to corner. Usually we're sewing 1/4 of an inch away from our corner. Did I say quarter?
Quarter corner.
Quarter corner. And I'm just going to chain piece. So this is just really how simple it is. This block is probably the easiest block of all the blocks. So why did we save it for 18 and 19? I don't know. I didn't design the block.
Ask them when you go to Moda.
I will. I'll be asking that question. Why did you say the easiest? Well, because everybody's tired and, you know, we've completed already 17 blocks. Okay, now look. I'm just going to go over here and pick up my 19. Now, do you see a difference in the 19-inch ones? 19-inch ones. 19, number 19 block versus number 18 block. They're going to be smaller. So,
Baby blocks.
baby blocks. So I'm just going to... And this is how fast it's going to go. I mean, we are going to zoom through this. So how many of these blocks are we going to make? We're going to make 3. And you make 2 of each color. So if we're making 3 blocks and we're doing 2 of each color, we have 6 of this color and 6 of the other color for block 19. And again, I'm moving that point right over to that line, following it all the way through as I sew. And again, I'm sewing from corner to corner of my small block, not my big block, my small block. Corner to corner. Am I keeping you up, Peter? Peter's yawning. Must have had a busy weekend. What'd you do this weekend, Peter?
Went to the horse show.
Oh, nice.
It is a beautiful horse show.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it around here somewhere?
At the Hamilton County Fairgrounds.
Oh, that's what county we're in. Always in Stitches is in Hamilton County.
Beautiful facility.
Yeah, we really have a nice 4-H ground.
Such a wonderful program.
Now, were these kids showing horses, or what was the deal?
They were showing horses, but there was also eventing, you know, judged events and things like that.
Oh.
I went after work, so I only caught the tail end of it.
Oh, no. Get it? Tail end? Horses. Oh, that was pretty funny, Peter.
No pun intended.
Nope. Well, I was intending it to be a funny pun, because I
But-
want to laugh.
But what I was excited about was the main event.
Yeah? And what was
Maine.
that?
Pun intended, Maine.
Uh-huh. Maine. Oh, that was good.
Okay.
Okay, I got that.
Okay. But anyway, so I got there for pole bending, flag, and barrel racing. So that was
Ooh,
exciting.
I guess it would be. Okay, now before I go to my cutting board, cutting mat, I'm just going to go ahead and put the next one on. I'm going to get a little organized here. I'm going to put the next one on.
My eyes got windburn real bad though.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that could happen.
Yeah.
Did you not have sunglasses on?
I'm gonna have to invest in a pair of those.
You could get a pair of flamingo ones from Cappy. She has flamingo ones. How sassy would you be looking if you had flamingo sunglasses at the horse races or the horse show?
It would be hard for anybody to take me serious.
Yeah. But does anybody really supposed to take you serious, Peter?
I guess not.
No, you're a little bit of a fun guy. A fun and crazy guy. Do you know who said that?
No.
Steve Martin. He's one of my favorite
my God.
comedians of all time. Do you
He
even know who
is-
that is?
Yeah, he's awesome. I didn't like him
Uh-huh.
when I was growing up,
Uh-huh.
but I really come to appreciate his films later. They're just so great.
Well, and he plays the banjo really, really well. He has a band now.
Did not know that.
Yeah, he has a group. And he sings, of course, you know. But one of my favorite films of all time is The Jerk. He starred in The Jerk.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's so funny. So funny. All right. Now, those are the big ones. I'm going to do a couple little ones. Now, why am I not doing these other little ones? I don't know why I left them out. Let's do some of these and other ones because I'm going to have them to do my block. They're made exactly the same way, only smaller in size. 19 is littler than 18, but you're going to make 3 of number 19. I know I've said that before, and it tells you right in the book what to do. Don't you love the hum of a sewing machine? I do. Just love the hum of a sewing machine. Now, for time's sake, I'm not going to go ahead and move over. I thought I did 2 of these, but evidently I didn't. Yep, going to now. So I sewed most of the weekend, got all my consignment stuff done that I had to do before I left for Texas. But now is the laundry. I hate laundry. I despise laundry. But I don't like to buy clothes either, so, you know, if I was wealthy enough, I could just throw them away and buy new, but can't do that. I hate to buy clothes. I mean, think about how many fat quarters you can buy for the cost of a shirt. That's a lot of fat quarters.
There's a lot of fat.
I got my priorities in order. You know what I'm saying? I am not going to be wasting my money on clothes when I could be buying fat. Okay, I love that. Just love it. I love these color combinations. You know I love the greens. I'm doing the cookie tin colorway. Remember, there's 6 colorways, but nothing says you couldn't make up your own colorway, right, Peter?
Right.
And you could even use scraps. We saw some blocks made with scraps today on the web, on Moda's Instagram page. All you do is go to Instagram, put in, search for Moda Fabrics. It'll pop right up with all their pictures, and you'll see some pictures of the My Favorite Colors Moda. And they have them in all different, lots of fun ideas. Fun ideas. So, if you finish this quilt up and you think, oh, I didn't get enough of that, grab out your scraps. Start making the blocks out of your scraps. It's so fun. I'd love to see this in some Civil War fabrics. How about you, Peter?
I would love to see it in Civil War.
I think you and I share the same love for Civil War fabrics.
I love the new lines that we got in.
Uh-huh. That Joe Morton. We're going to get some more, I think.
And Kansas Trouble.
Uh-huh. Now, Kansas Trouble's really not Civil War.
The color are you sure? Because that color palette's Civil War.
I'm positive.
But it had all dark colors.
I know, but she's not a historian and she doesn't reproduce. Those are her own designs.
Our Civil War have to be reproductions.
Civil War, yeah, they're Civil War reproductions. That's what
So
they are.
nobody can just come up with their own Civil War inspired design?
No.
Why not?
Well, because they're not from the Civil War.
But if they're inspired from the Civil War, doesn't that count for
No.
anything?
Civil War reproductions means they've been reproduced from fabrics from the Civil War era.
Oh my God, I'm so confused.
Oh my goodness, Peter,
I thought if
had
the
no
color
idea.
palette and the designs looked
No,
not from today, there was Civil War.
No. They have to be inspired. I mean, they have to be if they're a reproduction Civil War, if that's what we're talking about, they have to actually be fabrics that existed during the time of the Civil War.
Well, nobody knows what existed during the Civil War.
Well, yeah, historians do.
Oh, okay.
That's why people like Barbara Brackman spend their whole life studying fabric and the age of it.
I gotcha.
You silly boy. Judy
gotcha.
Rothamall, she does a great job with some Civil War. Pam Buda, she does a great job with Civil War fabrics. There's so many people out there doing reproductions.
So it's only Civil War if it's a reproduction of a fabric from that era.
Yeah, otherwise it's just a fun fabric that looks like a Civil War fabric because the color palette's the same.
Oops.
And that
what's French General?
French General is fabric taken from France. They go to France like twice a year.
So not Civil War.
No, not Civil War.
Parisian fabric.
Parisian fabric. It's French. French fabric that they find, salesmen from the 1800s, 1700s, they had sample books that they would go around and sell the goods. And so they go to these places and they buy these books, these old salesmen's. You should see them. We have them at Moda. They're awesome. They're all rickety-rackety. You don't want to touch them. Mr. Moda says, oh, yeah, touch him. He's unbelievable. But anyway, you go to these countries that are much older than our country.
I wouldn't be mad if you put on some white gloves and opened up one of those books on your live.
Oh. Well, they're getting ready to move, so I don't know if they've got them packed or not. But if I get a chance, I will. I'll do that.
Hey, Cappy, I heard you got some new sunglasses.
I did. Should I go get them and show them?
I think you should.
Okay.
I think you should.
While I do this pressing, I'm going to press these things open. Now, it didn't take very long at all to do these. And I'm not going to measure each one because I know they're going to measure exactly the way they're supposed to because I've learned how to press. I've learned how to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, which on this I didn't use my 1/4 inch seam allowance.
So here you go.
There she is, Miss Beauty
Here's
Queen.
Cappy. These were on my computer when I got to work this morning. Does somebody know my
They know ya.
Scariest.
They know ya.
They know my scariest.
See,
right?
the reason we were talking about him is because Peter went to the horse show this weekend,
Right.
and his eyes got windburned. And I said, "You need some sunglasses like
Here you
Cappy."
go. There you go. This is what you need.
She'll let you borrow those.
I would let you, if you wore these to the horse show, I would totally let you borrow them. Can you imagine what those horse people, they would be like, what is wrong with this guy?
Peter says, well, they wouldn't take me very serious. I says, well, you're not very serious
Yeah, exactly.
anyway.
We don't take anybody serious around here. Okay, well, thanks for sharing.
Thanks for the
Sorry
show
for
and
the
tell.
photo bomb. The flamingo photo bomb.
Okay, excellent. So look at how fast this goes. But like I was saying, before the flamingo flash came in, that's what we should
Flamingo.
call her.
That's
Flamingo Flash.
She's a
She's a
superhero.
superhero.
A quilting superhero, Flamingo
Oh
Flash.
my goodness. Didn't we have a good time doing going through the shop Friday?
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was really fun.
Were you exhausted?
I was very tired after that.
That was a lot of words.
Woo! Boy, if anybody's got words, it's me. I can talk about anything pretty much. I mean, it's just, it's like diarrhea of the mouth. Ooh, who wants to hear that on a Monday morning? Ugh, that didn't even settle well with me. Okay, it's a waterfall. of mouth. How's that? That's much better.
A jacuzzi jet.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the blocks, which is the reason we're here.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. See how this does not affect the size of the block. I'm going to bring one of those solid blocks back over here. Okay. So this block started out this size. And look, it's still that size.
How'd you do that?
Well, because we're just adding a connecting corner. We're not actually adding to the block. See? We're just putting a piece to replace some of the block. Now, if I wanted to make a square in a square, have you heard of that kind of a block, a square in a square? I think we did a square in a square, didn't we?
That center one with the bear paws.
This one right here. Yeah, this is not, we didn't do this square in a square because we did this and
Is that
this.
not a square in a square?
That is a square in a square, but we didn't make this block this way. It happened when we put this block next to this block.
Oh,
We didn't make it a square in a square.
I gotcha.
But if we wanted to make this a square in a square, what we would do is we would then go ahead and add blocks to this corner and this corner. They could be the same color or they could be a different color.
How many squares can you put in a square theoretically on a quilt block?
Well, in a quilt block, in a quilt, you can put as many, but
well, on that block.
One block only has 4 squares,
Okay.
4 corners.
But then you can't go and like cut this corner off or after.
Well, then that wouldn't be a square. That'd be like a band on a square.
A band on a square?
See, because you'd
So
have
it'd
to
be a
have
rectangle.
be a rectangle on a square on a rectangle on a triangle with a little triangle on the end. Yeah, I could go ahead and do another square right here and do it again, you know? That'd be so cute. That'd be really cute. Maybe we ought to try that, Peter. Come up with our own pattern. What do you think? Now, does it matter which corner of the square that you put the squares on? No, because see, you can turn it. If I would have put them on this side, I could just turn it. So it doesn't matter which corner, as long as you're putting them on opposite corners. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, now, where did my big ones go? We got little ones and we got big ones. All righty. I'm going to take and lay them out on my board. You know how I love my board. Get these out of my way. These out of my way. These out of my way. Okay, here's my board. Now, I've got to look at my chart here. Fabric. Yes! I love that. Where'd my baby ones go? Right here. Okay, let's see. Fabric 8. Fabric 8, that's these. So this one's going to go here. This one's going to go here. And, oh no, that's fabric 8. Okay, fabric, oh yeah, that's right. And then fabric 2 is this. Fabric 2 is that. And there's that. Oh, that's so cute. Alrighty, so you know what we're going to do? We're going to sew these two together. Now, are we going to pin? Well, of course we're going to pin. And this time, we've never had this situation before, Peter. Okay? We've always had a seam that goes this way. That would be vertical, top to bottom. Okay? That we had to match up, or a point, right? So there would be another little point right here that we'd have to match up. This time, we are matching up a diagonal line. So the process is the same, but you make sure that that diagonal line is right next to the other one. And then I'm going to go ahead and pin this other side. Now, what if you just wanted to pin them all? Okay, that's fine. Goes like that. This one I'm going to pin here. I'm going to make sure my diagonal, and it's tricky, I'll tell you, it is tricky. But you pay close attention. You get your pin in there. Finally finished that big old flannel quilt that I was working on. Took me 36 hours to make that quilt.
Oh, you're done?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with it. It's done. It's in the mail. It's on the way.
Wow.
So I'm happy about that. Okay, here again. Get those diagonals lined up. Now, if you don't feel comfortable just pinning it here and you want to go down here and pin it too on these big ones so that it's not moving, you could do that. If you were, you know, concerned about it, you could do that. Now, sometimes I like to pin and sew, and then other times I like to pin, and then sew all at once. Just depends upon what mood I'm in, you know, what personality I'm sewing with. My husband laughed so hard when he watched that video. Oh my goodness. Okay. But look at how fun. In just a few steps, we've got a really fun block. Now I'm ready to sew. Now I'm going to use my 1/4 inch. I don't know what, I had Jeff look at my machine here, and I don't know what he did, but it sounded really good. I had him do a once over on it because it was making a funny noise. Now, if you pin that corner, don't get confused and think that's the corner, that's the side that you're going to sew on. Remember which side you're going to sew on. And don't ever sew over your pins. Don't ever do that. You know why? Because if the needle and the pin make contact, it throws the machine off. And your machine could be out of alignment. That means that the needle's not going to be straight. This whole thing could move. It's just not a good thing. It's just not. It's not a good thing for your needle. It's not a good thing for your pin. And it's definitely not a good thing for your sewing machine. Now, if you're one of those people who have a sewing machine, you've never opened it up and cleaned it, or you've never changed the needle, I'm here to tell you it's time. Okay? I'll be sending the quilt police to your house. I have a way of knowing these things. It's like a sixth sense. It's like I have ESPN or something like that. I don't know. But please, take care of your sewing machine. I just sewed over a pin because I wasn't paying one bit of it. Oh my goodness, I'm crazier than a loon. Oh my goodness, don't sew over your pins. I just wasn't paying a bit of attention, just sewed right over that pin. I was lucky. Lucky, lucky, lucky. Okay. All right, back to pressing. Gonna press these open. Now, some people would press these one way or the other so that they would lock in place when you put the two together, but not me. Nope. Love to press open, so I'm gonna press open. Forgot to use my clapper for my seams. I'm out of sorts today a little bit. Had a busy weekend. Stayed up till 3:30 this morning watching TV with Dad. You ever seen the movie Shazam? It's about these kids that turn into superheroes. Only when they're the superheroes, they're like in their 20s. So their body changes into, adults. It's a bunch of foster kids. It's pretty cute. Pretty cute movie. Dad enjoyed it a lot. You know what Dad really enjoys? He enjoys those things like extreme sports where they do those obstacle courses and then they fall in the water. He just laughs and laughs when they fall in that water. It's good to hear him laugh, I'll tell you. Sometimes he's not all there, but he had a really good day yesterday. Really good day. I was so happy. So happy. So, now, is it going to be effective to put the blocks that way? Well, now that's a design change right there. But I think it's really intended to be. Nope, it's not intended to be that way either.
Uh-oh.
But that would, hey, look at how pretty that design change is.
Uh-oh.
Woo, that's pretty cool though, isn't it? Nothing says you couldn't do that. But if you're making the block in the book.
I hope this turns out right.
If you're making the block in the book, we're going to do it this way. How's that? Better?
That looks good.
Yeah, looks good. Okay, same thing here. Look at that. Love it, love it, love it. Let's pick this up. This is the part we're going to sew. Again, now we've got those diagonal seams and a straight seam. So I'm going to start with my straight seam here. Now I don't have any points that I have to worry about with this block. But I am going to make sure that those diagonal blocks, diagonal seams are together. Make sure you pin nice. And because these, because I know how to do a good 1/4 inch, I know how to do a sew from corner to corner. I didn't have to pay so much close to my 1/4 inch because I was cutting my 1/4 inch seam allowance after I got it sewn. But now look at how square those are together. See, they're exactly the same size. So this is how I know that my block is going to be square, because all the pieces fit where they're supposed to. I don't have one piece sticking out longer than the other. I know when I get this seam sewn, this block is going to be the size it's supposed to be. Now remember, the book tells you what size it's supposed to be when it's sewn into the quilt. That's the finished size. But what we want to measure is the unfinished size. Well, how do I get the unfinished size from the finished size? I add a 1/4 inch. No, a 1/2 inch, excuse me, because I have a 1/4 inch seam allowance on both sides. So I have to add in that 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now, some people just turn off when you start talking math, and I have a tendency to do that. I love math, except for story problems. I'm not good with story problems. If Henry has 5 bushels of hay, and Sarah has 3 bushels of hay, and Billy buys 1 bushel of hay from Jonathan, who's not even in the story, because I can't remember the guy's name I used first, I can't deal with all that. That's why when books come out on film, I'd rather watch the film. I can't keep track of who is who in those. Like I used to read a little bit of Debbie Newcomer. She had some novels that kind of were nice and simple, but I couldn't keep up with who was who, And it wasn't one of those naughty ones. It was, people had bookstores and quilt shops, and it was fun, good stories. But I have to watch the films because I can't keep up with who Sally is and if she's married to Billy and if she's the sister of Sarah. And, I can't keep up with all that. How do you do with books, Peter?
I don't.
You don't read? No.
Nope.
No. I'd rather be doing something, I'd rather be sewing, doing some handwork.
I read, but the problem is when I read a book, my mind wanders.
Yeah, that's me too. I think
my mind just drifts off.
We might have OCD.
And then,
what do you think?
And then I can read like a whole chapter and then not even know what I read.
Right. That's how I am too.
So I stopped reading.
I sometimes I have to read the same line 3 or 4 times. I think we're OCD.
Yeah.
That's okay. Multiple personalities and OCD.
I don't think it's OCD. It might be something, I don't think it's that. I think it's
attention deficit disorder.
No,
That's what it is. ADD.
I don't think it's that either. I think it has something to do with the way my memory is, and so when I hear or see things, then I start thinking about those other things that it triggered.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's a memory trigger.
Oh, no, for me, it's ADD. I'm sure of it.
Well, you can sit and listen to somebody's conversation, can't you? Or do you get bored with them?
Sometimes I get bored with them and start sketching. Or, if I hate to talk on the phone. I just despise it. I can't stand it. And luckily, my best friend is the same way. She can't stand to talk on the phone. So we'll say, hi, how you been this week? How's the family? Okay, goodbye. That's pretty much our conversation. Now, I like that FaceTime. Have you FaceTimed?
I haven't FaceTime yet.
I tried to teach you how to do it. Peter's been teaching me all kinds of things on the computer so that when I get to Texas, I can be posting things and showing you things. And so we'll see what we can come up with. I don't know if I can post things to YouTube, but what I can do is I can post things to our Facebook page. Now, I want you just to get right in here, Peter, and look at how pretty.
How pretty.
Isn't that pretty? Now, see how my
pretty.
points come together?
How do they come together so good?
Well, because I know how to sew.
Wow.
And everybody out there on my team, yay team, knows how to sew.
That's right.
Because we've been sewing together here now for how many weeks? What episode is this?
I think it's 12.
I'm
just
goodness.
taking a guess. I'm going to take
Okay.
a stab and say 12.
Okay, isn't that awesome? We've been together for 12 episodes. That is awesome. Okay, now if my husband can put up with me for 43 years, surely you folks can put up with me for 12 episodes.
That is hilarious.
Don't you think?
That is funny.
Look at this. See how those points come out? I mean, just look at that. I'm so proud of myself.
Okay, let me zoom in on that point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That's a great point.
My points don't line up like that.
Yeah, they will if you
I
just take the time.
I just keep going.
Yeah, if you take your time and do all the things that we've talked about. Now, I know that block is square what it's supposed to be. Okay? Let me see. What is it supposed to be? Oh, I covered that part up. But anyway, here it is in my book. Shows you everything that you need to know. Shows you underneath this piece of paper, it shows you how to do just exactly what I said. Tells you your colors, your fabric colors. That's the reason we made this. Because if you're not doing these colors, you're going to need this because fabric 1, look, that's a green in this colorway, but it's a white in my colorway. So see how the block looks much different? But in that little bit of time, I don't know, can you tell how much time we've not been here, Peter?
About an hour and 2 minutes.
Well, look at that. And I've got a good start on all my other squares. So, next time you see me, it'll be block 20. Oh my goodness, I just can't believe it. A lot of people are doing it block of the month. Now, we've been doing block of the week because we want to get on to other things.
Yeah, we got other projects.
We've got other things to do, my goodness. But I'm telling you, keep a lookout on our Facebook page because I'm going to be doing lots of things at Moda that I'm going to share with everybody. And I'm going to be introducing you to people that you'll want to know. You'll want to be in the know. It's all in who you know. They say that. I don't know who they are, but they do say that. And, oh, look at how pretty that is laying on top of that. Oh, my goodness. Now, that's a whole different design right there. Peter, you and I could just start designing quilts all over the place, couldn't we? That's really pretty. So, anyway, let's turn it this way so that this is opposite so it doesn't... I'm having too much fun. I don't want to leave you today because I know it's going to be a while before I see you again, which I never really have seen you, but you know, it feels like we're friends. So I'm so excited to share all this with you. I hope you're learning something from it. And until I get back from Moda, it's going to be 2 weeks from today. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye.